Welcome to Designer Retail in Today's Marketplace. I am Jane Dagmy, Editor-in-Chief of Designers Today magazine, and if you're not getting it and you're in the trade, please subscribe, go to our website. Really happy to be here today with these incredible women who I know and I'm getting to know. And thank you to Comm Collective for hosting this panel. So I'm going to start to introduce people in order of who I know and who I met first. And that would be the lovely Julia Buckingham. So Julia is now based in Phoenix. She moved from Chicago, and Julia's retail career preceded her interior design career. So you opened your first shop in 1999 in Cincinnati. Just for the record, I'm holding some notes because I must use them. So Julia opened her first shop in 1999 in Cincinnati, and your first design partnership in 2002. Then you went out on your own with Buckingham Interior Design, and you also opened a showroom at that time in Chicago. And then now you, as of 2017, you're in Phoenix. Your shop is called Modernique. It's named after the style that you coined and the name of your book as well. Your daughter Madeline just joined you out there in early March. Great timing, Madeline.
She's so bored.
Actually, it is great timing because you want to be together, right? And your design firm is located inside of your shop, so under one roof. And Arizona is in-person shopping in Arizona resumes on the 15th of May. So I'm going to now go to Amanda Reynal, who I just met through this Zoom. I'm going to wait for Susan in the hopes that her face will appear. Amanda's business, Amanda Reynal Interiors, she opened that in 2001 after working in New York for the very esteemed Coleman & Kravis interior design firm. And she is based in Des Moines. Her retail shop opened in 2016. And yes, she too has her shop and her design studio in the same building and a refurbished factory in Des Moines. And Amanda, it's been so great to get to know you.
It's lovely to know you as well.
Thank you. Susan Jameson, who is, her design business is Bridget Berry Design, and she is hopefully going to come on. We'll get her face on here. She and I met 2 summers ago at the Designer Experience, and we've also done panels together, and retail panels, as a matter of fact. Susan launched her interior design business, Bridget Berry Designs, in 1992. I often will sometimes mistakenly call her Bridget because I think we all probably have. And then she opened her home store 3 years ago. And at the home store, she sells her paint collection, which is Bridget Berry Paint, and a wallpaper collection as well. And she's located in Richmond, Virginia, and her businesses are not under the same roof. She's got her design studio and her shop separated. So anyway, this is the panel, and everybody's been dealing with a lot these last 2 months, and we're kind of excited to check in and see what's on your mind moving forward. So I'm going to start with some of the more gloomy things, and I just want to find out, when the you-know-what hit the fan, what were your first thoughts about your businesses? And Julia, I'm going to start with you. So as a small business owner, what went through your mind?
Thank you. Well, I think it's interesting that we are now at a place where we can talk about our emotions at the beginning, at the middle, and now towards whatever we want to call as an end, or maybe it's an end in sight. The emotions that I had at the very beginning were, is this a sign that maybe things need to change within my company? And a lot of the second guessing that I had done about, when you invest in a retail decision and a brick and mortar, it's really about the location of the business. And in Chicago, it was an easy gesture because it was next door to where our design offices were. So I searched long and hard for this perfect location. And sort of around the turn of the year, I started to think, is this really the right place for what we do? So when this all kind of came around, I thought, is this some sort of divine intervention, or is this, I've heard a lot of people talk about the pandemic as been such a reflective time, and a time to really have some extra time on your hands to decide, where do you want to be? What are you doing that you need to change, or et cetera. So I was filled with panic at the beginning. And then I started to do a lot of soul searching. So where I've ended up now, as opposed to, 8 weeks ago, it's a completely different place in my head and in the direction that we want to go.
Mhm.
So.
Amanda, how about you?
Well, when I first opened the retail store, I did it with zero retail experience, and it just sort of felt like a natural extension of what we were doing. And I really loved the location, which happened to have enough room to add a little shop to our studio. So welcome.
Susan is here. Yeah. Yay.
And so I did it a little bit blindly with a great leap of faith, and it ended up being one of the best choices we've made for our business in terms of visibility and connection with people in a mid-sized city like Des Moines. Street traffic is not necessarily in our heavy like it would be in a big city like Chicago or New York, but we ended up getting a really loyal group of clientele. And so, at first I worried about what's going to happen with sort of all the momentum we've built with the shop. And that was worrisome. And so we started, changing our mental state in terms of how can we help people feel good about, being safe and taking care of what they need and what they want. And so we've accommodated with local delivery and things like that. And the shop has always sort of been like 10 to 15% of our business and not a huge part of it. And I have a feeling, we can talk about this more later, but I have a feeling maybe that will change because home is sort of where it's at right now. And I think we've all spent a lot of time in our homes. The whole world has. And so having a home shop, it feels like a really positive and encouraging thing to be doing.
I love that. I definitely agree with you. Susan, it's nice to see you.
Yes,
I'm glad you figured out all the buttons.
yes, and every button.
So what's it been like for you outside of Washington, D.C. and, when everything went down, and just curious about, did you file papers? Did you get loans? What was your reaction?
Well, my design studio is not in my shop. So that actually is a good thing because I was able to keep working. I would say I work at the design studio almost 90%. So I have a manager at the store and other employees that work the store, but they were working and we had to shut down. I was actually on vacation in Key West trying to get back, during all this. And, when I got back, it was just, okay, we're going to shut down and see what happens. But luckily we did get our PPP loan. Even though it's not a lot, it does something. And we were able to keep everybody employed. We revamped, we repainted, we've redone things, we've changed things around, just trying to keep everybody busy. But the design business it's actually pretty busy and amazingly busy for what I thought would be a complete stop.
Yeah, well, I've checked out your Instagram, and yes, it seems like you've got, things are proceeding, projects are proceeding, but that's great that you were able to, zhuzh the store up, and that's something that, can happen when nobody's coming in and bothering you. So good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just getting the Instagram going, was key. Just putting things on Instagram, clients would call, and that just kept us keeping the store open at some point.
Right. But you mean your Instagram for your shop?
Yes.
Yeah, because see, it's interesting as I studied all of you amazing women, you and Julia both have two Instagrams. You have your shop and your interior design Instagram. Amanda seems to keep it all on one, right? And
I had a shop Instagram and I got rid of it. It was too much. And I like to be in charge of it myself. Like it feels like more authentic and more, part of me and our brand to be in charge of the Instagram. And it's definitely a commitment. So having two of them just didn't seem to blend well. And so I keep them as one now, and it's working out great.
I was just, for Julia and Susan, this is a question that comes down on my list, but let's just go to it right now. As far as keeping two, do you do them yourselves?
Yeah,
Well,
do them.
Yeah, we actually have, we have 3 Instagrams, and then my dog has an Instagram. And then we're constantly, to me, the most important Instagram account is from my personal account, which is part family, part work, friendships, travel. So that's the personal side. We really wanted to keep that separate from the shop and from the interior design because they all have different focus. I ran all of the accounts for a long time. I tried several times to have an outside firm do the Instagram, and that each lasted at the very most about 3 weeks because when someone put up an Instagram feed about cats and I'm a dog person, I was like, this isn't real. This is not me. This has nothing to do. And it really was just an inevitable. It's you know, oil and water. You have to be brand centric. That's what we all as designers strive for, to have a unique look, a unique voice, but it has to all go together or everybody just gets confused. Since Maddie moved to Phoenix and started managing the shop, she's taken over the shop Instagram. And I know that Jane and I have we talked about this a little bit this morning, is she ran away with the Instagram. It was, if we had not had Instagram stories, flash sales, auctions, the business would have been 0 on the retail side. Because although everybody wants us to shop and people really want to come out for the experience, but they want a deal now. I mean, really, you have to have a sale and a motivation because there are a lot of people, you know, there are bills to pay and mouths to feed. So it really becomes a secondary, if not tertiary, opportunity to shop.
So at this time, you use social media. You sold a lot off of Instagram. You ran an auction off of Instagram.
We're doing the auction right now. Shameless
We're in
plug.
the auction.
Shameless plug, but we're doing it right now.
No, that's great. I mean, designers need, you know, beautiful antiques, and you certainly have them. Susan, did you find, did any of you, and I'm going to start with Susan, have some issues with your messaging? Like when this all went down, were you thinking, what do I do? What do I say? Or did it flow very naturally for you? Because
No, it was very awkward because in Virginia, that's where I am, we still can be open. So we can be open if we have less than 10 people, but I just didn't feel like in the beginning it was safe for the employees and they didn't feel comfortable. So, you know, some of the other furniture stores are still open, but I chose to close. And we will be able to be open next Friday for the governor. But, you know, if they don't feel comfortable, then I don't feel comfortable. And I don't want to put them in harm's way. So that was sort of the way but doing things on Instagram just brings people out of the woodwork. They're all like, oh, and even I do videos every Saturday on tips and people will say, you know, oh, I saw that vase in the background. How much is that? And then we'll deliver it to you. You can come by and pick it up. And we sell paint too. So we have contractors coming in during the week, just making appointments and picking things up. And so we're semi-open, but not really. The store says closed.
Well, people got upset when you even had the opportunity to choose to be open or not, because if you weren't open, people were angry, and if you were open, people were angry. So I think that kind of feels like that whole dichotomy of what's the right way to go. So we had to be PC and be conservative so that we wouldn't make people upset or uncomfortable.
Well, I want to, that's a big subject and I want to tackle it, but I want to ask Amanda one thing, because I know that Amanda, you started redesigning your website in late 2019, right? And
Yes.
It just so happened that in this time you were ready, you know, it relaunched. We talked about it through email. So what's been effective in your website? What do you think's helped you the way you've redesigned it now?
Before, we had the same website for 4 years, 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years. It was a typical interior design website with projects, press, and a little bit of biography on me and our business. And I'd opened the store a few years ago and really felt like I had a lot more to talk about than, and wanted to relaunch a blog and do it in a way that was polished and editorial, as well as be able to sell our product and share more about it and our vision on the website. So it was really a whole brand new website with a new look and a lot more accessibility. And actually, it's been, kind of a learning curve. We launched it, thank goodness, right around April 1st. And we do have online sales and an online shop, as well as a new blog called Style Sketchbook. And it's been, with Instagram and, kind of promoting product through Instagram and sharing what we have on the website and what we're doing. It's all come together really nicely. And it's been a really nice complement to the design business and the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Good timing, Amanda.
What's that?
It was such,
Yeah.
thank goodness, because we started the whole process in November, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking so much longer than I thought it would. I'd really like to get this up now, okay, now we really need it like tomorrow. And it, I had really great people helping me and that I'm working with, and it's just turned out to be fun and wonderful and very, sort of a positive thing that's come out of, all of our like little bits of downtime is now, I have other things to work on when we're not working on our client projects. So that's been kind of enriching.
Sketchbook is really nice.
Silver lining.
Yeah.
Silver lining.
Silver lining. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. I just want to say to anybody that's watching, you can write a question if you have for Julia, Amanda, or Susan, or me in the Q&A, and we'll look at those in a little bit. Okay, so I want to talk about reopening because everybody's on the verge. And Julia, what you said about sort of being PC, are you going to require masks? I think I wore a mask. I met a woman that I know in the supermarket the other day, and I felt like I was in a post-apocalypse, movie. It's just so weird to only see eyes. And, when the stocking boys at Publix say, ma'am, if you found everything, and I'm like, yes. And I have this big smile under my mask and they can't see it. It's just a weird feeling, right? So what's it going to be like when you open? Susan, I'm going to start with you. What are you going to do? Are you going to have rules and sanitation stations?
We already do. We have Clorox, Perel, we have masks. We wipe down the counters, we wipe down the door when people come, when people leave. We don't have like 20 people at a time. So we already have, we're a small boutique, so I would say we probably have max 6 people at a time. So we don't really have a crowd control problem, but
Right.
I think for the safety of the employees, they want to wear their masks, and they have designer masks and all the pretty colors and everything. Everybody's got what they love. I find it really hard to breathe in them on job sites. I mean, I'm having a hard time with just breathing through that, but I'm getting used to it. I'm getting better ones. But basically, we're just going to see how it goes. I'm going to require them to clean and wear masks, and then see how people react or how many people come in and see how it goes.
So a mask will be required to come in or a preferred?
Yes, it will be. We'll see how it goes. I mean, if people wear them, if they don't, I'm going to be flexible. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Sale is a sale.
Julia, what about you?
Well, I have had I was talking earlier about reflection and change of ideas and change of pathways. We are actually permanently closed.
Okay.
That's a little bit of in the last week, what has transpired out of our momentum, our feelings of where our strengths were and what we wanted to do and where we wanted to be located. And it was, gosh, I would say the silver lining was being able to redirect and to say, this is a time for me really to think the amount of energy, the financial interests, the commitment to what we were doing. Do I have that enthusiasm? Do I have that energy? Is this right? And it ended up, after a lot of soul searching and it was, the impetus was when somebody stole all the Purell from our shop. But no, I'm kidding. But someone did come in and take all the hand sanitizer, which I thought was weird. But no, we just decided that this is not the right place for us. And so we are going crazy hard on Cherish, and our Instagram sales were so fantastic that we really have managed to make that big decision. This is where we need to be. And I started Antiques career traveling to, we did all of the Armory shows and the Pier shows in New York, in Bridgehampton and in the Hamptons and in LA. And I kind of see that that's where we might want to resort back to, is the idea of not having the brick and mortar, doing the vignettes, making these special statements, and being a part of that kind of nomadic gypsy-like vibe, which really was so much fun. And it just took a lot. Having a storefront takes a lot of the fun out of having the joy of design.
And having the joy of travel and taking off, right?
Right. It's the full circle, I think, that sometimes when you're meeting with a client and they say they love something, but let's look around. And
Right.
ultimately they come back to that first item or that first mood board. And that's where we feel like where we might be at this time. Plus, I miss traveling.
And right now, I mean, you've all, Amanda and Julia specifically, you've mentioned, and I don't know about selling some of the things off of Instagram, Susan, for you, but would you say that you're selling, before COVID, how much would you sell percentage-wise off of Instagram versus in store? Can you give me a rough estimate, like equal or, you know?
10% for us.
I don't think I was selling very much on Instagram, but I wasn't really trying to. I wasn't focused on that as much as, you know, posting pictures of projects and occasionally shop things and, you know, the stories. I really focus a lot on the shop and the stories. And with COVID, it sort of forced me into focusing on how can I be present in people's feeds and worlds and remind them that we're here. And also, you know, sort of be cognizant of what's going on and, you know, sharing how we're working with local, you know, supporting hospitals. You know, we took all our old fabrics that were left over from projects, and our workrooms made masks, and we dropped them off at the hospital, and just things like that. Like, you know, just to be a part of everybody's life as much as possible, you know, without trying to sell things, and just be present and say, we're here and we're here for you. And if you do need something, you know, how can we make it easy for you? And Instagram is such a great tool for that. And I think, you know, it's evolving over this whole pandemic into something that's more of a communication tool and less of an entertainment social media. You know, check your feed while you're having coffee, and everybody's really using it now
Business tool.
in a different way.
And Amanda, you have such a natural way about, like, your stories about your shop have like drawn me in so many times.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
Well, no, but I think, you know, oftentimes I think we were talking about headbands at one point. I probably never got back to you, and I apologize. But you have so many great stories, and that is something that I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable with yet, is the expression of an Instagram story. It's fast, it's furious, but it's so emotive. And, you know, Susan, you do the same thing. I mean, you both take people's interest and pique their interest about what you're doing. And I think that's a natural, you know, ability that you both have.
Well, I mean, that's very kind of you, Julia. I honestly, I mean, it takes up time. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like it comes naturally, but I think, you know, when you get feedback and people reply, and I feel like, you know, we are communicating with our customers and our friends and our clients, then we know that, you know, we're relevant. And I think for all of us right now, you know, in this time that's so terribly scary, and people are so focused on so many things that are not necessarily a vase or a box or, you know, things like that, but like so many bigger, you know, real issues, we want to be relevant in a cognizant sort of way, that we are aware and not tone deaf.
Exactly.
But you are, you are the experts, deft at creating homes for people, and but there's this kind of commerce woven through it, but the help that you offer, I mean, you can give your services and donate, and you do. Everybody's very charitable here, but it's also, you've got to make a living too, right? So I'm curious, Susan, has what's happened as a buyer for your shop, and for things that you're specifying for jobs, has it given you a different perspective? Like to start to think about what you're offering?
It has, except I really enjoyed the one-on-one that I've been able to create, even with the clients that are calling in for certain items. But it's also me reaching out to the vendors that I would normally see at High Point, and we're doing this one-on-one. They're saying, oh, I'm like, do you have any poofs? They're like, oh yeah, let me show them to you. A couple emails come over. I'm like, send them on. I'd like to buy 3 of those. Or Schwung Home sent out something, and it's sort of this one-on-one now of dealing and buying direct from the vendors. And I'm kind of loving that. It's sort of, I mean, maybe I'm not seeing everything, but I'm getting what I want, and it's a new way of buying. But I think for our store, we're just trying a new look. And we're always doing that, but it's, it's fun to do. And I think when we open, it'll be a brand new kind of clean. And I bought a bunch of stuff from London. I'm having a great time over here. I think the one thing that I've learned is I've got to be very cautious about the finances and prepare for what happens in the future, because nobody knows what's going to happen with this. So we all have to be a little cautious.
So when you say cautious with finances, does that mean just maybe putting some limits on your purchasing, or
I am. I'm trying to figure out, I want to buy everything, right? All the cool things I see, but I'm being, okay, we'll buy this, and then we'll move on, and we'll buy 2 next month. Well, let's try to see how it goes, because who knows? We might close down again. I mean, I have no idea how long we'll stay open.
Right. I know you love antiques, and Julia, that's the basis of it's been the basis of Modernique. I mean, you're still going to have your shop. So you're talking about going the nomadic route again. Do you foresee that, like, Round Top, and, are people just going to be chomping at the bit in October to get to Round Top? Or
I think that you are exactly right. I think that's what people are looking for right now, is that next adventure. And there's going to be a real impetus to travel if it is deemed at all safe, and we all follow the rules. I mean, I even think I have been chomping at the bit to get to the Antiques and Design Center at High Point. It's like, I'm like Susan. I got an email from our Oli rep, and he's like, we have 12 items that are left from I don't even know what, and I'm just clamoring to get on and see what they are and the one-offs. But I think that's where we are all going to be so energized, is the next markets and when they're open. And I do believe too that people now are appreciating the value that they put into their home, the possessions that they have surrounding them. We hashtagged it quarantine in style, because I think that's when you notice that there's, the paint's chipping, the countertops are cracked. We've all sort of made critical lists of what needs to be changed, but the value that we've placed on those pieces that do keep their value, or are timeless, are the items that I think that we've cherished the most.
Are you finding with your retail businesses that there's interest in a certain type of item? Amanda, I'm going to start with you. Like, is there something that's just flying off the shelves at this time? I was exaggerating there, but.
Well, we have like a signature scented candle. It's white tea and thyme. It's very fresh. It's $40. People, they're sitting home. They're like, oh, I need a candle.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people locally have, bought candles online, and we've dropped them off at their houses. And actually these beaded colorful bracelets that we sell, they're super friendly price. They're
great,
like just a fun little thing. We've got just home accessories like trays and vases and cocktail napkins. And yeah, I think Julie is absolutely right. Everybody's sitting around the house, like looking at their house and what can I do? And I mean, personally, I started setting the table with like all of our stuff for dinner, like, you know, a couple times a week with a tablecloth and candles and using different china sets and stuff like that. And just, you know, how do you keep the morale up when, you know, in retail, just a little something that's not a huge investment makes
Right.
it kind of cheers everyone up and, you know, makes everyone feel like they're doing a little something nice. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're happy to help them. So that's
You
been kind of
should have
fun.
invested in loungewear.
Totally. I know, right?
And the thing to have stocked during all of this.
With
Yeah.
an elastic waist.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm getting out and walking more though. So that's good.
And you've heard what happened with the Peloton world. I mean, the Peloton bicycles it's
Oh my gosh.
praise for everyone, and it's fun.
Cody Rigsby.
Yeah, I like Cody.
Love him.
Yeah, I'm a Christine fan.
Oh, I'll try.
Okay, here's my next question. Susan and Julia, you both have product collections. You have your wallpaper and paint. Is your wallpaper, Susan, that's made domestically? But has there been any issues with production?
Yes. Well, we use different companies around the country, but one of them is in California, and it shut down. But it wasn't too long. I mean, we had a couple orders that were in, and were stopped. I mean, the designers understood that they weren't going to get their product, and so. But now they've already been delivered because they've started back with limited, limited people in their facilities. So it hasn't been terrible. Just like everything else, just getting things to people. Just as a designer, ordering things for my customers, I know how designers feel like when they can't get what they need for their own customers. But it wasn't. I didn't think it was too terrible. But my paint, the paint came out. It's still coming out. The painters are picking them up every other day, and it's rolling along just fine. So
Oh,
paint is
That's
good.
great.
But yeah, I mean, people are understandable now. It's, you know, there's much greater issues than a few weeks on somebody's paper. Julia, what about your collection with Global?
Well, I actually, luckily enough, Global Views had kind of the foresight to have a program where they had a no minimum order. And I think that was what I was speaking of earlier, that sort of that, what can a company offer now that makes this time the more incentive to purchase something. And no minimum orders on a company that their minimums are not that high anyway, but it makes it, oh my gosh, somebody came in the shop or somebody on Instagram wanted something, I can order it now. I don't have to add to my long list of things that I need to order at the same time. So we've been really lucky. We've been ordering pieces and parts, and everything's been coming in. And what I have found is our design clients, the people who weathered the storm, there were a majority of people that are reticent and putting things on hold, but our clients that have weathered the storm and said, let's move forward, it's been easier to order things. We've had so much attentiveness by our reps that are at home, and everybody's getting back to everybody right away. And these orders are coming through really quickly. We had a big shade store order, and everything came in such record time. So I guess that is a silver lining as well.
Yeah, silver lining. I want to call our linings aged brass because, I've heard them called gold, and I just chose another metal. But I mean, you've mentioned bits here and there about it. Have you, though? I'm curious. People talk about the pause, and Julia, you did mention reflection. And what is something that you miss, like going out to dinner, or I'm a homebody, so I'm pretty happy here at home. I guess I do miss just not wearing a face covering, just that freedom. But are there things that you're just what's going to be the first thing that you do when you feel free again?
Travel.
Yeah.
Travel would be a big thing. I mean,
What
I don't know when we travel.
And that's how travel's going to look either, right?
When you talk about antique fairs and things like that, and markets, you think about the infrastructure, the hospitality that will support that, right? Hotels and restaurants, and you know how many people can come to market. But if restaurants are working at half capacity, like how's that going to work? We're also, I think one of the things for me that came about in this is the total interconnectedness of everything, just
Mhm.
how we
The
are.
getting from A to B and C, and how many other people you meet, or other people you've got to pass by, or businesses that you have to go through to get, you're right, to that finished product.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be safe to go out in the fields. Round Top sounds amazing. Brimfield.
They're
Amanda,
outside.
let's get a whole group and go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a lot more air moving.
Totally. So will you continue, Julia, will you continue with your studio in that building, or are you going to
We're looking for a whole change. And so really this has just been a really pivotal, fantastic time. And it really has been reflective. What I find the most, I have a Southwestern background, but just being outside and nature and all of the things that we have here, it's just much more conducive to being out and watching the birds and looking at the cactus and breathing in all of that air. That's a reminder that those are things that are important as well. Because I've spent the last 18 years working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and it just got to be to the point where it wasn't as enjoyable. And now I want to go back to that place where we all feel like we're making a difference, and we're connecting with people, important people in our lives, to create something beautiful that they will enjoy forever, just as we'll remember the memory of it.
Amanda, what will be, do you hope to be like your first trip or first trade show, or, what do you see the rest of this year going somewhere and buying?
I mean, I hope so. Like Legends is meant to be this week, and it's kind of, I missed all of our group of designers, and it's so inspiring to travel in our design industry, and even if it's not to market, just to see things and get inspired and be out and about. I'm excited to go even to the East Coast, to the mountains in upstate New York, where we go. And, I think one silver lining, like Julia was saying, is like just spending more time outside, like, at the end of the day, just going for a long walk. And I think that's going to become an important part of everybody's lives, is just slowing it down a little bit. And I really enjoyed like the not getting on a plane every month and just being home and not traveling and looking around and saying like, what we don't have a lot of choices of what to do right now. So what can we do and make it meaningful? And how can we simplify our lives so that we do appreciate the simpler moments of, going outside and planting my pots, and, just enjoying home and taking advantage of a little bit more home time without it being so chaotic. It just kind of changed my whole perspective. And yes, I want to get on a plane, and I'll go to, a design industry event soon, but I'm, kind of adjusted to this new reality. And I certainly don't want to do anything too quickly that's going to cause a backlash and a resurgence of the virus. And that kind of makes me nervous. So
Susan, question. I'm going to meld this with one of our somebody asked a question about outdoor design, and I know we've featured like a beautiful project that you did, and also just your love of plants and the outdoors. So the question is, will outdoor design be the next big design movement? I mean, do you see more investment
when
there?
you ask the question, what's flying off the shelf? Outdoor design. Everybody wants an outdoor table. I've had customers call and say, we want to do this outdoor space. I mean, I think outdoor design is huge because people are entertaining, at least in the South. So that's been a real big jump at the store and on the design side. But, learning to design via the computer and not really seeing people is sort of a new way for me. I'm used to going there and really talking it through. So we have a job in Atlanta, we have a job in Florida, you know, talking it through and getting them to see your facial expressions and how you want to really sell the design of the outdoor space. You know, that's something that I'm learning to do, but it's difficult.
Learning to
But
do
outdoor,
via Zoom. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard.
Everything,
It's hard for them to hear your passion for it.
yeah, floral. I mean, even look at Susan's, wall covering. Everything that's floral and happy and outdoors centric is becoming so popular yet again.
Well, I
Mhm.
I think the whole biophilia, that sort of wellness, health and wellness. And so this is just really like making it mass. I mean, it was talked about in, the all of our circles, right? Like panels and things like that. But I think it's really now a mass movement. So what do you think the holiday season? Just curious. I mean, Julia, you're kind of going in a little bit different direction, but for Amanda and Susan, would you normally have, holiday events and have your stores full? What's that going to look like? Just a prediction.
It's tough.
Well, I don't think we'll have them. I mean, we were having events once a month. I just don't think we will have them, unfortunately. I mean, maybe closer to December, but I just don't think that we'd get a big crowd. I mean, nobody's going to really want to come for a crowd right now. So we're going to have to figure out another way to do something exciting.
And would your events, I mean, when
Agree.
you do events, it's a way to bring the community in, and I guess there's, some good sales that might happen afterwards. Just get to know people and the good spirit. So yeah, you'll have to find something to kind of replace that good feeling.
Right. We either have.
Yeah, I'm sort of
signs or-
thinking maybe we do, oh, sorry.
That's okay, go. I'm
Um,
done with that.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't thought it through completely, but definitely, we've done pop-up shops and trunk shows, and we love having the community come in. We were going to do something in June that we're not doing now. And as the holidays get closer, maybe it's time to do sort of smaller group events. 10 people or less, inviting, special customers and clients or friends, and, figuring out a way to celebrate with other people in a safe environment, I think is going to be on everybody's minds. But hopefully we'll be able to do lovely things with other people to some degree. Because that's a long ways away, 6 months. Who knows
is.
what's going to happen between now and then.
It is amazing though. I mean, what it's become online. I mean, Zoom, it isn't a replacement for the real thing, but it's very good. It's really quite good. I want to say one thing that's just going to make everybody feel really good for 1 second. Compliment on the Q&A. Just love how long everyone's hair is. So let's just talk frills for a second, okay?
Growing.
No,
Um,
that's what happens. You can't get your hair cut.
I know, right? Well, it's just the result. I'm not cutting it anyway, though. But let's see. Here's a question that's just interesting, but I'm going to, there's some good questions here. For somebody who wants to get into either design or retail, the question was specifically design, but I'm going to broaden it to retail. What would you recommend a person in the early 20s who wants to get into the design and decorating industry, but maybe weave some retail into that? Anybody? Julia?
Well,
Or,
go ahead.
The question didn't say obviously where that person lives. And if it is in a city, I think that has a design center, I would suggest going into the showrooms, seeking potential opportunities, employment opportunities within. I know we have the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. So to be able to be based there and to go there to find a position is really where you get to learn about the industry from that perspective, which is what they don't teach you in design school. So I would say to do something where you could walk into a design showroom and get an opportunity, or if you're in Des Moines, you can work with Amanda, or if you're in Virginia, you can work with potentially with Susan.
Yeah, I agree. I think the best way to try an industry is just to go and do it and, get an internship or a job and see how it all works. And the day in and day out of our industry is so different than what one might assume it is. that really actual experience is like the only way to give it a shot.
Yes, correct.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say get an internship or become, help at a store. I mean, you can do we need people to do smaller things, do window displays, that type of thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be a full-time job, but you'll be there and you can work, and then people always want you to do a little more if you're good at a certain thing. It's great to learn how to sketch. I mean, I think that is something I always tell my interns, you need to know how to sketch because you need to show contractors, you need to show clients, you need to design wallpapers, whatever you need to do, you need to know how to sketch. So that's important.
And knowing AutoCAD, I would say, is extremely important. We don't hire any designers in our firm that don't have AutoCAD experience.
Right. Have a solid skill that you can offer. And then of course now with between curbside delivery and if you're going to be more in the service oriented and delivering products, that's, maybe you had somebody who delivers for you the big furniture, but now maybe you're delivering a tray or a scarf or a candle. So
I think an area would has to look happy and pleasant in a mask. Would be
yes. Yes, for sure.
It has to smile with their eyes.
There you go.
Yes. I predict lipstick is gonna the need for lipstick is gonna go down. Or they'll have a fabric that's like, maybe Krypton takes the lipstick off. I'm not sure, but some mask.
Yeah, I'm sure Rattled and Leather has it. Somebody
will. Okay, here's a really good question. I like this. Have your time management skills failed, adjusted, or thrived during quarantine? When and where are you most productive? Susan, I would love to start that with you.
I think they've thrived. I mean, I definitely get up, go to work every day. I mean, we are busy. I mean, design work is busy. And from people calling from out of the blue, I think people are together and husband and wife are together and they can think about things and talk. And so they're like, well, I finally have your attention. Let's do this project that we put off. And so I'm like, or people at their beach houses, we're not renting the house this year. Let's buy all new furniture. And I'm like, oh, what? Wait, I've got to get back, I've got so much to do. So, I mean, it's been busy, busy, busy. So keeping my assistant working from home, so keeping that organized, the time management's huge. I mean, just making sure that everybody's doing their job and we're all communicating via the phone, or I'm the only one that really goes out on the job sites. Everyone else is staying at home. So I'll go and visit job sites or make delivery. But time management's big.
And Amanda, with you and the women that work.
I've been coming to the office too. I tried staying home and it was a disaster. I mean, between all the meals and the laundry and the cleaning up.
You were busy
with
my
type A personality, just like we need a full renovation as soon as this is all over. Like I need an upholstery cleaner, a carpet cleaner, everything is trashed. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm going to work out and go to the office, and we're super busy and I'm so grateful for that. And we've got big, construction projects to visit too. And, just keeping up with the shop and, making sure I'm posting every day and things like that. So time management at home is not good. That's the final answer.
But you're back in your groove now that
I love my family so much and I love coming home to them, but it was hard to be home all day.
I was so envious of your China changing skills.
Well,
that's something that I aspire to. Except I don't know where any of the China is at this point.
Then you're sort of like, who knows how long we're going to live for at this point. We might as well use our wedding china, right? Like, what are we saving it for? Like, Thanksgiving, no one's coming over at this point.
Charger upon charger upon charger.
Right, let's just use it all. More is more.
Stack them up.
I'm reading the Q&As because there's quite a bit. So I'm going to, this is going to be probably our last Q&A that we'll take, but somebody's writing in and they would basically like to know that having a store, she said, I think Julia said, having a store takes a lot of the joy out of design. Did you say, okay. Can you speak to this as far as, was it worth it for you? So, okay, that's actually something for Julia.
Wow, I need like a, I don't know, like a minute. No, I understand, I think what he or she is asking.
Well, she's also, I think, wanting to potentially open up a store in an affluent suburb and just wants to know, you know.
I think that she should contact me. We should have I think we need more time, basically, to discuss the pros and cons, because this was my fourth shop. So I feel like I've done it a couple of different ways. I do have some ideas about getting into the business and maybe not biting off so much. Possibly, I know that we have a potential here in the Phoenix Scottsdale area to do a pop-up in a mall type environment, plaza type environment, before you have to commit to a long lease. So those are opportunities. And I didn't mean to be Debbie Downer, but to me, I'm the most motivated when I'm working with my clients, when I'm talking with them, when I'm shopping with them. And that's, to me, the core of the business, or the long-term relationships. So that's, anyway, but I'd love to talk to that person.
I don't think you ever can come across as Debbie Downer. It's just the way you speak, like, you know, so you didn't come across Debbie Downer to me.
Oh, few.
Not at all. Amanda, what is, in all of this craziness that's gonna, you know, maybe even out now a little bit, what's been something you're grateful to have learned? Like, what's something you've gained in this?
I think that the importance of relationships with other people, you know, whether they're new relationships or continuing relationships, you know, business-wise, especially with our clients, and the trust that they've placed in us has been, you know, a really important part that I'm so grateful for. And I think everyone was really freaked out quite a bit at first. And with, you know, the supply chain and projects underway, you know, projects that are, you know, down to the studs, just, you know, being able to work with our clients and figure things out and have confidence in each other has been really a great silver lining, very comforting. And I'm really excited to sort of move forward into this new climate. You know, I think our industry is changing like so fast and furiously. And I think it's in a good way. Like, focus on the home. What do we need at home? Do we need a workout room with our Peloton bikes that's like really nice to be in? Are we going to go back to the gym anytime soon? Or do we, you know, do we need more? Someone was saying, and I don't, maybe it was in another panel, open plans might change because we need private spaces in our homes. You know, open plan living is going to be harder if you've got a lot of family members living with you and people need to be working from home, going to school at home. You know, how is that all going to look? And so I'm just sort of excited to evolve with all of these changes and to help people, you know, love where they are and love where they're living.
Definitely, architecture and design and retail will respond to this for sure. As far as open plan, that kind of makes me happy. I've never been a big open plan person because I love art and paint colors and wallpaper, and I like surface area, you know, to express that. So I'm excited. And storage, what about storage? Everybody's going to be like, you know, they're going to need extra toilet paper closets. And
well, I think, yeah, and everyone's, you know, purging the heck out of their homes right now. I mean, everybody you talk to is just cleaning out closets, and they can't take anything anywhere because everything's closed. And
we have this thing, curbside pickup once a month in Scottsdale.
Oh, that's good.
And it's like like a party. I mean, the things that people are putting outside, it's a troll for treasures.
I would think curbside, yes, definitely, if you're in the right town that has that. And also, I think going to like the great consignment and you know, and thrift shops and things it's going to be really good to just hit them up afterwards for sure. For sure. Susan, what about for you? Just something that has come about from this time that Like if you were telling somebody 20 years from now, oh, you know, and this happened in 2020 and this is what I got from it. And it was a great time. This opportunity presented itself. What could that be for you?
I think it's more just being grateful for the clients, for the store that have followed along with the Instagram, who comment, who want to buy things even in this time of turmoil. I mean, they still want to reach out. They want to leave positive messages for my design clients that still want to go forward with work. I just think that's such a nice part of humanity. I mean, everybody's just trying to reach out and help everyone else and help small businesses with the Scout Guide, or we're helping restaurants, and we're, you know, everybody's trying to reach out and help their friends and their local businesses. I think that's just a great way to express your love for other people and support the economy. And I think we will all look back and say maybe that's something that maybe we never took enough time to really appreciate, all the people that work so hard and all those small businesses.
Oh gosh.
God bless.
The humanity of it all. I mean, seriously. And, you know, thankful for, I'm very thankful. I was very scared at first to go out just for health. I mean, I was really scared. But now I feel like strong, my mind's in good shape, and we'll see what comes next. So,
yeah.
Well, I believe that this session is going to be recorded, which is great. So we can access it at any time. And for anybody that's listening, you can reach these women at their social media if you have questions. Julia has invited has invited a conversation. I think Amanda has too. You've all talked about interns and things like that. So
Of course.
You're all accessible. Thank you to Comm Collective for hosting. And it's been great spending this hour with you.